Two inmates from Cradock Correctional Centre in the Eastern Cape passed their Matric examinations with flying colours. 161 prisoners countrywide sat for the 2019 exams and 133 of them passed. That's 65%, achieving Bachelor admission passes. Minister Ronald Lamola announced the results today at Tswelopele Correctional Centre in Kimberley. The minister's announcement indicated an improvement of over 5%. Two of the top three achievers are from Cradock Correctional Centre. One of them is from Durban Correctional Centre, and all the offenders were excited about their achievements and high aspirations. Well, let's talk about this issue with the Minister of Correctional Services and Justice, Minister Ronald Lamola, who joins us from our Kimberley studios. A very good evening to you, Minister. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. So we, according to the figures, see that they surpass those in correctional services, the pass rate nationally of those who are not incarcerated. What do you think attributes to this figure?
Good evening to the viewers at home and to yourself, SABC, in the studio. It is dedication and hard work, and also the fact that the department from time to time improves on its work of various years. So the inmates are now more capable and more given an opportunity in the various conducive environment in our centers, which are aimed to give them help and assist them with their studies as from the beginning of the year. So I think that has helped them a lot in terms of coping with the conditions and with the environment, which is not very easy.
Now, you mentioned in your speech that according to international standards, education in a correctional environment needs to be in line with an education of the general society. What is the South African context?
Yes, the reason we mentioned that, and it is also because we work with the Department of Basic Education, which helps us a lot, and that's why today we had the MEC of Education from the Northern Cape. So the Department of Education works closely with correctional services in offering the subjects, the various subjects that we provide, including the core subjects that the department expects us to deal with, like maths, science, and accounting, and all that. So we follow the guidelines of the National Department of Basic Education. And I think that has given us a very good results, and it has borne fruits because they are the experts in the field.
Now, you say part of the motivation is to ensure that you make inmates to be self-sufficient through skills development, and that it prepares them for their release, actually results in them getting jobs possibly. But how effective has that been? Are you able to evaluate the efficacy of education for inmates vis-a-vis the outputs?
Yes, I think it has been very effective. There is a number of inmates who have gone out and made a positive contribution in terms of employment, one, and secondly, in terms of them creating their own jobs. You will understand it in terms of employment. There is some stigma in society where employers believe that it is illegal to hire inmates, which is wrong. It's a wrong myth and a wrong belief, because there is nothing illegal with hiring inmates who are ex-prisoners, because they've undergone various processes. They can be hired. But also, if you look at some of the contribution, for example, one of the people creating artwork for an international artist like Black Coffee is a former inmate from one of our prisons, a local prison, and he is selling artwork across the globe. This skill, he learned it in our prison. He's an international acclaimed artist, and there are various entrepreneurs, various role players in society who have gone through our processes, and we believe this is yielding a positive contribution to our country.
So have you measured whether or not the cost of giving education to inmates measures against the cost of recidivism? And I'm asking this, Minister, and trying to understand that, are you saying implying X amount of money into the system to educate inmates costs the system less because it means those inmates are less likely to reoffend?
Yes, it does cost the system less. You can imagine at Tsepiso we have got more than 200,000 inmates. And if we do not rehabilitate them, by the time they get released to society, you will understand the kind of damage that will be caused. But with the various programs that we have of rehabilitation, and as you will have listened when I spoke, we spoke about the various programs that also include enhancing their skills in boiler making, in plumbing, various vocational skills, which in fact mostly of our inmates who pass Matric prefer the vocational skills, and which we encourage them to do, because that also enables us to enhance those skills in the various centers that we have, like Boksburg, like Polsmo, and even here in Kimberley, Kudemut, and the various centers that we have, including Durban Westville. So this enables us that when they get out, if he's able to do plumbing, welding, it also makes it easy for him to contribute and also to start a small or a small business.
Minister, I'm curious just in terms of research and development that the department has done on the curriculum that is fitting for inmates in the South African context and the dosage that they ought to receive. Can you take us through that? What have the findings been?
I can't get the question properly.
I'm asking about the research and development that you have done as a department in terms of the curriculum that is appropriate for inmates, especially in the South African context.
Yes, the curriculum that is, which as I have said, it has to be in line with the basic education curriculum. That basic education curriculum that they provide to the students, to the learners in the various schools outside prisons. It must be the same as the curriculum that we provide in our cells. They write the same exams as the learners in any school anywhere in the country. So it is the same. The only difference is that obviously they are inside. There will be disruptions in various types when there's lockdowns, but the department does its best to ensure that the environment is as conducive as possible for their learning.
I'll tell you why I asked this question, Minister, because there are those who are saying there must be well-designed evaluations of the curriculum in prisons to make sure that they are indeed effective. So for somebody who is in prison, does it benefit them to learn the very same thing that somebody who doesn't face the same challenges outside of those walls?
I think we'll need to separate. You'll remember there is a curriculum. This is related to the matriculants, the education system, the one that is offered by the basic education. But we also have a curriculum and inside which relates to inmates who are inside, for example, that needs to learn various skills, including social programs like anger management and the various therapeutic programs that we run. So there are two separate issues. That relates to their social life and so forth. It is still run, but this relates to the basic education which is offered to any South African, and international standards and benchmark have shown that when you want to educate inmates, they must receive the same kind of education as the one that is offered in society. But then you will need to give them the various courses as I was speaking about, which relate to social workers, therapists, psychologists, which are now a separate kind of a package.
Are there areas of improvement for correctional education that you as a department have highlighted?
There are what?
Are there areas of improvement? Are there areas of improvement that you've highlighted as a department on correctional education that are required?
Yes, there are a lot of such areas of improvements. For example, at this stage, we are still struggling with short-term sentences where people come in for 6 months or a year. You will find that those are the highest in terms of recidivism or reoffending, because the programs that we have are designed for people who are inside our cells for a long-term program. So that is the challenge that we are looking at in terms of how do we ensure that our programs are responsive to that. Even if a person comes for 1 day, 5 weeks, and so forth, is able to go out a different person, having been impacted by the rehabilitation programs. So those are the issues that we're looking at, and I hope very soon we'll be able to change the curriculum so that it responds to that.
All right, thank you, Minister, for your time. The Justice and Correctional Services Minister Ronald Lamola.